Dan, explain to me what we do to help our clients when they're charged with driving under suspension.
Hey, John, it's a good question, but before I go into how we can help you, let me give you some context about the situation you find yourself in when charged with driving while under suspension. And probably the most important thing is be realistic. Be realistic about your circumstances. And I find a lot of times it's very common for clients not to be aware of the severity of the charges and the penalties that stem from the charges. And unfortunately, driving while under suspension, it's a serious charge with serious penalties. And the lawmakers, what they've done is they've given the prosecutor, think of it like a toolbox of penalties to deal with the driving while under suspension charge. And that toolbox of penalties really is geared to your specific fact circumstances. So at minimum, you're facing a mandatory 6-month driving suspension. Take a step back and think about it. What does a driving suspension mean to you? What does 6 months not driving mean to you? What does it mean if you can't drive to and from work? What does it mean if you can't drive to do what you need to do to support your family? What impact would that have on you financially? What impact would that have on your life? And additional penalties are there as well. I mean, potentially, if you're a repeat offender, you can go to jail for up to 6 months. And again, take a step back. Think, what would jail time mean to you? Have you been to jail before? Are you prepared to go to jail? There's just a lot of ramifications for people when they're hit with these charges.
Okay, so now explain, how can you help someone charged with driving while under suspension?
In this case, John, in anyone's case, it's important to understand that your fact situation is just different. It's unique from someone else who's been charged with driving under suspension. And a lot of times I hear from a client, they'll say, Dan, my friend's got charged with this and he walked away with no charges or nothing at all. And I always respond, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, unfortunately, because every case is unique and it's impossible to assess your fact situation relative to another case where the reality is you don't know the reality and the true facts about their situation. And every court and every prosecutor has its own nuanced way in handling driving while under suspension charges. So your case may be handled very, very differently in courtroom A in city A versus courtroom B in city B. And it's important to understand that a court date really is just one point in a timeline that really may last many, many months. And it's in between those court dates. And that's what a lot of the defense happens with your case. That includes reviewing the evidence that the court has against you, having discussions, negotiations with the prosecutors, and critically framing your story in a way that really just best helps your case. And at Nextlaw, we just understand the legal process in depth. We understand how to frame your story in the context of the law and in the context of the prosecutor and in the context of the court that has ownership of your case. And we've been handling driving while under suspension charges for a long, long time. We've handled a lot of these cases. We understand the legal process that you're going to go through to fight these charges. And we understand how to navigate these complex waters as your case advances through the court system, ultimately to get you the best resolution possible. What I suggest, if you're interested in learning more about how we can help you, is to give us a call.